for legal and personnel, and then we have a roll call.
Mrs. Beagle?
Here.
Mrs. Boyce? Here. Mrs. Burns?
Here.
Mrs. Delaney?
Here.
Mrs. McBride?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Here.
Mr. Mock?
Here.
Mr. Ritter?
Here.
Mrs. Warning?
Okay. Do I have any comments from residents on agenda items? No presentations? Board member discussions. Ms. Boyce?
Policy. Do we want to, instead of waiting for the state to get their act together on legislation for cell phones, given we're starting out the new school year, do we want to take it upon ourselves to create a policy specifically? I looked at the Pittsburgh City School Policy. We can use that as a template if we choose to. We can always amend it once the state passes the bill, whatever year that is. My concern is they pass it and we don't want to start the school year out or do it halfway through the school year and then do some kind of policy. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because now what we have to add not only is cell phones, but it's come to my understanding, the new popular thing is the watches where the kids can text with the watches. So you're adding that to the mix too. Now, according to Pittsburgh policy, what they're saying is that if a kid has an IEP or if it's a 504, then of course that can be put in there and they can keep their cell phone or they can keep their watch or whatever. So my question to the board is, do we want to do that now? Because it makes sense to do it at the beginning of the year instead of in January. How do we want to proceed? Because John and I are on policy. Do we want to look at a policy that exists already and just, how do we want to proceed?
So, go ahead, I'm sorry. According to the PAHouse.com, nearly 40 states currently restrict cell phone use in schools, and 29 of them have enforced a school bell or bell ban or away for the day policy.
Right.
So have you found any? I know Penn Hills and Woodland Hills.
I was looking at your husband's school district.
Pittsburgh Public has.
So I'm just gonna say Gateway Middle is not allowed to use their phones. Do they have a special policy or is it just Mr. Jack saying no phones?
Each K4 has theirs. It's a little more, it's really restrictive, middle school than the high school.
So from what I'm aware of, the middle school is not permitted cell phones like out and about unless there's a medical. That's why I was asking, is there something in policy that we have for the middle school? Is it just?
It would be the implementation of our current policy. But no matter what policy we pick, it's going to be the implementation of it to make sure.
Have you looked on how other schools are implementing that policy? Are they relying on the administration in that building or teachers?
It's
or-
across, I talked to Woodland Hills here, they have that policy, and she moved to Gateway. She was very distraught that we were not following what they did there. It was across the board policy through the district.
Right, but how did
But I
they?
understand they collect them and
That's what.
I believe the Pittsburgh City, when I was reading the policy thing is, the teachers are going to collect them. That's a conversation that the policy committee can have. John, you wanted to chime in. Do you want to say something before others keep on going?
Well, I just wanted to turn it over to Chelsea for a moment. She looks into the policy development across Pennsylvania and across the nation from time to time, and she's tied in. So if the board did want to create our own, because the state government hasn't given us one, if we wanted to create one of our own, would it be an easy thing for the solicitor to suggest, one or two or three, so we wouldn't have to draft it from scratch? That's already working well in other states, and that would get us ahead of the game. If you give us three, we pick the one that we like, and massage a little bit. In other words, we know it's already been through their government in other states, and it might likely be able to be approved by the law and the policy folks.
So with respect to other states, I prefer to use policies that have been vetted in Pennsylvania
That's fine.
versus other states, just because the PA courts might interpret something a little different than California.
So I'm looking at for 3 templates.
Yeah, but I can absolutely provide you. I'm just looking at Pittsburgh Publics right now. I know that we represent Penn Hill School District. They have one as well. I can get you that one, but I can get you a couple that you guys can review, and then whether you want to pull one portion, mix and match, whatever, we can.
Take
I
it
can
out.
absolutely help you with that.
Feel
or
free to
however
do
you
it.
wanna do.
Okay.
We also have access to model policy, so we'll be able to,
I just think,
well,
I think what the question is, can we get it implemented for the beginning of the school year?
not a board policy.
Say that.
you said we cannot.
Not a board
We have to
policy,
have it.
unless you waive it.
Yeah, we have to put it on display and
But it's closest to the beginning of the school that we're not getting hit with something from the state.
And that's fine.
January.
So if there are time requirements, restrictions, we'll abide by them, sure.
Yeah, I don't want to cause too much confusion with the start of school and the teachers and everybody. I'd like to see how Pittsburgh is doing that from what I can see. I mean, that's a much larger school district. And if they can make that work in a much larger school district, then I'm assuming we can do the same thing here. Because you're talking about.
Now, their buildings may not be larger than ours. Their district is built larger, but our high school's probably larger than any of their high schools, I imagine.
Well, let's just look at Chelsea, what you can give us. Pittsburgh City, Penn Hills, Woodland Hills apparently has one, from what I gathered, talking with parent
If
time.
I may,
Is
I
that
think,
true?
personally, I think our best move forward is, we know something's coming from the state. We don't know exactly what it is yet, correct?
Well, we could read the text of the bill from the House, but then,
But it may or may not change. It's not implemented yet. There's no guidelines of how to implement. I think it would behoove us to have something ready for when that does go through, that we can jump on and move. I think the idea of starting a policy, obviously we can't do it at the beginning of the year, so we get into the year, kids can have phones. And then we implement our policy, and then 2 months later, we have to make tweaks and changes to that. I think that just adds a lot of confusion on what the actual policy.
well, we can also look at the bill, the legislation, because that would give us a guideline, putting that against everything else that everybody else has done. Because think about it, if there's a massive change, then Pittsburgh City's gonna have to change, Penn Hills is gonna have to change.
My understanding from the state would be, it would be bell to bell, but it would be, school districts would be responsible for developing the policy, so in implementing it, so it would be bell to bell. But do we collect or don't we collect? Do we keep it in the backpacks or we put it in the pouch?
Whatever.
Types of things. It's like up to the school district.
We already have those the shoe racks that we have.
Yeah.
They do work as long as the kids are putting in there, for the teachers that do mandate that they have. So, I mean, I know they bought them, I think we paid for them, did we, Mr. Ross?
How many do we have? What are we talking as far as
We
numbers?
bought enough for, I believe, every classroom.
Yeah,
For every classroom at the middle and the high school?
yeah.
Half, they-
Well, the policy committee can do this way. We can look at the legislation, we can look at couple samples through Chelsea, and then we can formulate an idea,
Proposal, yeah.
proposal, and then we can have this. Because instead of talking about it this time next year, let's get going on this.
Why don't we just throw it to the policy committee? We'll get the policy, model policies, and we'll review them.
And we'll get a copy of the legislation and try to match that
That's
to,
what we currently do and see how it matches.
yeah, we'll have everything laid out and just figure out where we
Because
go.
we know it has to be bell to bell based on it passed the Senate and the House, so it just needs signed, and he has, well, I heard in voice, the governor voice that he was gonna sign it.
So, yes, he said if it meets, yeah,
So we
yes.
just need to figure out what that looks like, implementation and timeline. Does this, are you suggesting, even if he doesn't pass it, that you want this policy?
I think there's a need from what I've heard. I mean, we don't always have to wait for the state to decide what they're gonna do. And if other districts are doing it, across the state. They've already jumped on it with the idea that they want some control. So we can, as I said, look at the legislation to line everything up, have everything in front of us, and we still do it because we still know that this is an issue.
I would be happy for us to write something that's really successful so that the state government can look at our successes and then adopt what we've done or model it, to make it broader for the other 500 school districts as well. We're happy to lead, we're happy to follow. That's
So sitting here in January and still wondering how.
Awesome.
Any other discussions that you wanted to?
Oh, did you want to talk some more?
I just wanna, Dr. Rossi, how long ago did we do that parent survey? About
2 years. Yeah, I have all that information. Yeah, it's about 2 years. Yeah. I have all that information, which is, yeah.
Can we see that? We'll just look at it all.
Did you have anything else?
No, that's primarily this.
Okay, yeah, moving on down the line.
Okay, three things. I was gonna say just two, but maybe three, maybe four. What I wanted to mention was that it was so great seeing so many of our Gateway students who participated in the 4th of July parade. I mean, we had in every capacity and celebrating 75 years of Gateway, well, Monroeville as a city. I thought it was just tremendous, and everybody that I knew that attended the parade, and I thought we had great weather for that. So I was really happy about that. That's my
We melted.
and that,
Car and air.
and that's what I was saying to Val. I thought maybe it wasn't as many people because they were afraid it was too hot, but you're saying it was. Maybe, yeah. But I'm really proud of our students that showed up and showed out for celebrating Monroe. Two, a little background. I grew up in the inner city of Chicago. Many of you know that, many of you did not. As a child, and a very young child, my mother would take myself and my older sister to the library at least 3 times a week. And that was a mile walk because she didn't drive. I, having that experience, not only got motivated to be a writer and to just explore life vicariously, traveling and everything that I may not have ever known that I do as an adult, I was developed, I feel, academically, educationally through my library. So I was very concerned with what was going on, and I know that there are opinions and there are issues, particularly around.
I'm sorry, if you want to address how great our library is, but we're not gonna we're not gonna get into that discussion
Okay,
today.
and I did want to address how great
And they're great, we have a great partnership with them.
Right, and I spend a lot of time there, so that is basically what I wanted to, I was getting to, was to say that I hope that we do continue to support our library for all the great things that they have done for us in the past, and I know will continue to do in the future. If you want to know any more of my personal comments, look on my Facebook.
Thank you.
Okay, that was 2.
It's only 2.
Oh, come on, guys, she was done.
Yeah, because I'm going to stop there while I'm ahead.
I just want to make sure, okay,
I'm
all
going to
right.
stop there.
Be nice.
That was.
a scratched memory that I used to go down to the Carnegie Library and sit down and pull out Gershwin and put the headphones on. I mean, I spent a lot of time there. Libraries, they affected me as a high school kid growing up. And the big news is 1 hour ago, a little baby granddaughter was born. She's living away.
An hour ago? And you're sitting here.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right, let's move quick and get Mr. Ritter out of here to go check on everybody.
What's the name?
Ariella.
Nice.
I wanted them to name her little grandpa, but go for it.
Ms. Beagle, any comments or discussions for boards?
Not just congratulations.
Okay. I don't have anything this morning.
I just want to say, being in and out of the schools, our custodial staff, maintenance staff, they are really working hard. So I just like how the floors look like perfectly shiny. come for a school day. All this work, but no, they have been really working hard, so I just wanna shout out to them. And also, Community Day has been rescheduled to September 12th. Just bring it out.
I probably have that information if I was at the Parks and Rec meeting that it starts in 5 minutes.
Just let me know. Okay, that's it.
I could go across the street and get the baby and bring her back and show her.
Oh, she crossed the street.
That's it.
Rick, okay, nothing else for board discussions. Minutes from previous meetings, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as listed? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, financial reports, Mr. Drager, apparently top plate.
Thank you, Ms. McCrum. 7A, list of bills, July 2026, number 1.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Questions?
Yeah. Thanks,
Just,
Donna.
well, questions are gonna be, but maybe I should have early discussion. So the state budget did get passed,
Yes.
everything else. So from a budget perspective, there's probably, yeah.
Tomorrow's a webinar at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so you have more information.
Hopefully.
Anything else? Okay,
Hopefully.
okay. But we're happy with the state budget. It's only July.
Yes.
Better. That's an improvement.
Election year.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let us know. Thank you.
Can we have a roll?
Sorry.
Any other questions for the bills for July? Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Boyce?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre? Mr. Mock?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Horning?
Aye.
Mrs. Beagle?
Aye.
Okay, personnel, Mr. Bringe is away this week, so we're gonna go with Dr. Rossi, apparently conflict
All right,
management.
okay. I recommend a motion as listed. So at 8A, we have 2 rescindments. You'll see Colleen's a little bit later. 1 resignation, a retirement effective September 18th. Section 8D is employment as listed. 8E is a list of supplementals. 8F for leaves, FMLA leaves. 8G is 1 volunteer. And 8H, transportation coordinator, administrative supplemental position, and salary adjustment personnel agreement as presented.
Motion to approve.
Sec.
Oh, and I have 8 either to Lindsay Love, co-principal.
Oh, that was, John did the first motion.
I was second.
Donna did second. Do we have any questions or discussions? But may I just say something that doesn't have anything to do?
Where's 8I? I don't.
For anybody in the public, we just got a new, not board docs, I don't remember the name of it right now. So our agenda, thank you. So everybody has their computers open because we are following along in there and our agenda's, new to us this week, this meeting, so just bear with us. I did want to say that at the beginning of the meeting and I forgot, so we got a motion there.
Okay.
All right, any, yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
I, go ahead, no down the first.
Okay, 8.A.2 to 8.E.6. What's,
Is it 7? Did it get split? Is that what it is?
Yes. There's going to be a K to 6 and 7 through 12. There's no additional cost.
Okay. So I think 6 and 7, I thought that too, but I think 6 and 7E, 6 and 7 were the split.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. And then we've had a lot of rescindments. I think I asked this a lot, and the one we just talked about, but the other one. So we making offers, and then we approve them at the board meeting, and then
Consider this particular person going to offer.
okay. So people come, they actually don't act, when we rescind, it's because they actually haven't started. We've made an offer,
We've approved them.
we've approved the offer, but then somewhere they've now rejected the offer, taken it back. But usually it's when they don't start. Otherwise they'd be resigning or something, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we being competitive? What's our problem? Because it's happened a couple times recently. Are we okay?
You're seeing more rescindments because Kevin's structure is he provides more rescindments. So if there's like there are two examples right there. We're rescinding her, but we approved her later. The other individual 8A1 just got another job offer.
No, but I mean.
So are you saying
I think-
previous people we weren't really?
We're
privy to
rescinding.
the
We
rescindment?
rescindments. Yes, everything.
They just found out, but I just mean, we've had this happen before. Are we feel we're?
Don't keep my location matters to folks too. So where people live, and so
Oh, absolutely.
makes sense for them.
Okay.
And then for the open positions, we have some of them in here, but how many do we still have for the fall? Should we have an early meeting to approve it?
Yep, that's why we're gonna have an early meeting. We still have a special education, but we have someone in the pipeline for that
Okay.
and a certified school nurse. Someone in the pipeline for that as well.
But that's all we have open at this point.
And then potentially another position.
Okay. Okay.
I do just want to say, for the retirement, Tina Priest. She's been here an awfully long time, and she's been phenomenal, especially with our local students. She's going to be truly missed. I just want to wish you best of luck in your retirement.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments on section 8?
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns? Aye. Mrs. McBride? Aye. Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. Mock? Mr. Ritter? Mrs. Warning? Aye. Mrs. Beagle? Aye. Mrs. Boyce?
Okay, motion carries. Administrative resolutions, education, Dr. Chafee.
Thank you, Mrs. McBride. Under 9.A, we have 15 conferences, workshops for approval. 9B, Gateway High School new course proposals, we have 3 listed there. 9C, Gateway High School revised course proposal for honors comprehensive music. 9D, clinical affiliation agreement with Carlow University.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second. Sorry, I realized it's my turn to second this week.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
Who's going to go first?
Yeah. No, I was just curious. The technology help desk and support, what exactly is that? That's a new course, right?
Yeah, it's a course, we already have the help desk, but this is an opportunity for students to gain credits
Okay.
through a course for all the work that they're doing within the high school.
Is that a half credit or a whole credit?
Can I tell?
Well, good question. What's the PDE data conference? What does data mean in this context? Data for what?
That would be registration, all the PIMS,
School administration data?
Cindy's position, all of the course codes and how they align, a lot of red tape with those types of things,
This is
credentials.
a nice suite of conferences that you've elected to send a lot of the folks to. Leadership, intermediate unit, safety, training, ASBO, conference on education, child accounting, data, Skyward, training for management folks, school psychologists, other psychologists. So it's a good suite of training for our staff.
So in the past, they did list who would be going to these conferences. Are we not doing that anymore?
No, we don't know the individuals yet. We want to make sure we get these approved because a lot of times we're running last minute.
Okay.
We get it approved and the early bird, we're missing out on registering for the conference because of the meetings line up. So it's hard to
Is
have
there,
someone available to know now if they're available in February.
okay, is there a way, once we know who will be attending, that we would be able to find out?
Yeah,
Okay,
I can earmark right now.
Okay. No, that's fine. Like I said, they used to say before, because I know the hotels fill up and, yes.
So we won't be seeing this on later. We've been piecemealed it in the past, but now we've seen it all. Okay.
Another one here and there as they pop up.
Okay.
We're trying to We took what we had last year for the most part, that we know for sure, put it in here so that people at least know they can start planning.
Okay. And to the point that they're gonna, it's all in the budget, so
Budgeted.
it's all in the budget, all these items are in here, all stuff, so it's all,
Yeah.
these are additional to the budget. This is all things that we already budget for.
And there's one or two in here there's no cost too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I think I asked last year, when we did this, like, for example, there's 2 child accounting workshop, was a conference and a workshop. Just curious when some of these things are not easily identifiable, as we know PASBO and all this other stuff. Can you put like one line explanation under them, like, what is the child accounting?
I know it's a new system. Child account, there is information in there.
It's under.
It's in there, it's under the executive plan.
So we
So
have-
child accounting is, again, it's Cindy, this is registration, enrollment process. The PIMS manual is unbelievable. I could show you one day, just unbelievable.
So this is broken down. basically.
Yes.
Is Cindy teaching me the process?
No, and to be honest, we want her to,
That's what.
we want her to participate in these things. And this isn't a vacation. They're leaving their families and everything, and it's not the most exciting thing. And she's willing to go, and we want her to go.
And the child.
It's really good. She probably teaches.
There's a couple that are groups, like the PASBO groups. The child accounting is Cindy Singleton's.
And it's become very big, especially with the reform last year that came into place, and address verification and stuff. Cindy has already saved us a lot of money from catching multiple students that were not in the district that we were paying for.
I'm just gonna ask, Dawn, I did ask, was that help desk, is it half credit, full credit?
I believe it's a semester course now, which would be a 0.5.
Thanks.
Could, in the future, when we put these on here, could you include like it's a half semester or full course?
There is a description, is there, isn't it?
I looked at the description, I didn't see in
Yeah,
the
the description
description.
doesn't really say how many credits.
Yeah, it just
That's a
had
good
like
point.
the description of like what was covered. It was awfully long, I was assuming it was longer, but
Who, Dr. Jakey, who wrote that curriculum?
That was Mr. Yolowitz, Troy Yolowitz. Did a really nice job.
Now, this is really just expanding on our current help desk.
Right.
That our kids now are getting credit for some of these things, and Troy will be most likely the teacher of record. It's mostly a hands-on course, which is great for the kids.
So they've been it's the kids that have been doing this help
Yes.
desk, and now they're gonna get some.
Correct. So with Jesse and Gen C, Jesse, they all help with that.
No, that's great.
That's a semester or a year?
Semester.
Semester, but the help desk lasts all year, but this course is a semester.
yeah, I think if I looked at the difference, I think the legal studies course had like the standard like district format, but I think the help desk course, which is like the outline.
Yeah, it's kind of a new format.
Okay. Got it.
Anybody have any other questions?
Did we talk about 9D? 9C, on comprehensive music course?
Changing that one. That was a change, right? Am I-
Yeah, that's just a revision to the course to allow students to get an honors credit.
Wow.
Anybody have any more questions for Dr. Jakey in section 9?
That 9D is just sort of like their version of student teaching. They're just gonna come in and do a semester long,
Yes.
whatever,
Yep.
based on physical therapy, whatever it is.
We have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
All right.
Mrs. McBride? Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. Mock? Mr. Ritter? Mrs. Warning? Mrs. Beagle? Mrs. Boyce?
Aye.
Passes. Mr. Traeger, back to you, administrative resolutions for business, please.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. 10A, 2026-2027 capital projects listed below. 10B, approve the new investment service provider, New York Life. 10C, sponsorships, advertisings, listed below. And 10D, policy for 30-day display. Policy 810.2, school bus video and audio surveillance.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions on section 10?
So these sponsorship advertisements, are these up on the scoreboard or are they down in TV banners?
These are, I believe, are just donations that the board has to approve.
Okay,
There's a couple for the field. De La Sente and Gallagher are for the scoreboard. And fun slides.
okay. Thanks.
Then the capital project list, so we have a total, on there, so is that aligned with what we've had in the budget for what we were planning and we're under?
Yep.
Under that?
Yep.
Okay.
So the truck is it delayed?
Mr. Walsh, you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, for your capital projects, 26, 27, do you foresee them getting done by the end of the school year?
Most of the projects, because of with the kids coming back in or the teachers coming back in 4 weeks, most of the major items will be pushed off, but I'll have them scheduled for when the school year ends. Anything we can do during breaks, which breaks aren't usually long enough to get a contract ready to do anything big. So this is more of just letting the board know that we're going to start scheduling these projects for the summer of 27.
Okay.
Yeah, so the benefit of this is we don't have to wait next year for approval. We have that approval. I think we can go out for bids and hopefully have a competitive bid package because we're early.
So we're no longer behind the 8 ball. You guys are now planning ahead. So
Yes.
what you all here have gotten to a point where you can bring us almost 8 months early to start your planning versus approving it as we're doing it. It's the
Yeah.
pattern that I'm seeing here.
Well, schools, we have a limited time, obviously, when the kids and teachers aren't here, so pass the budget. We passed it in May. That doesn't give us enough time to fulfill that contract, get it, get the bids and quotes. Now that allows us to do that. Historically, too, I think we get a better price when you put it out the bid in December and January. The contractors are paying their work for the summer.
Okay.
Traditional.
So just because we're approving this, that mean we have to do all the standard stuff, all this stuff still goes out for bid and goes through all the standard
A
process?
lot of this is co-stars, so.
Okay, yeah.
Already,
okay.
So for the high school sports complex floor, is that the basketball court?
No. Sports complex, the steps, I believe.
No, there's two. No, that's right. I was looking at the wrestling floors, the high school complex, sports complex.
That's the steps, right, John?
It's the steps in the platform going up, the turnaround there. So that'll also be retiled.
Did we redo the courts this year? Because we didn't do it last year.
We did do the courts last year, and they were done already again this year.
Okay. And the big question is the handicapped restroom, the high school.
We have the bids in place. I just don't think we have enough time in 4 weeks to get a contractor on site to get it done before the school year starts.
All right.
So Leslie, for the folks listening at home that don't have this list in front of us, could I just take about 20 seconds to quickly characterize the Gateway School District is working on upgrading the lighting and some other things in the theater, floors on the sports complex. The tennis courts have a seating place for people to sit, and it's in the mud, so they're going to put a concrete pad and other things down there. Handicapped restroom, a nice truck, and then 2 or 3 or 4 heating and air conditioning upgrades, and some landscaping, batting cages. So it's a pretty extensive list.
Thank you, John.
John, one other question. The guidance HVAC, do they not have it in there now? Or is it just need replaced?
No, there's one there now. It is actually 2 refrigerants ago. It's from the late 90s, early 2000s. It's seen its life, and it's to the point now where we need to stay ahead of the game, get that replaced so that it just doesn't go down. Then we're waiting 6 months for a new unit to come in.
Okay, thanks.
John, that Play Go Co, that's a building, is that right?
That is the building. We're going to put that on the practice field up top. That'll house the carts for the athletics, so they can plug it in. They're secure and they're in a building, and they'll also be utilized for storage of items that they use on the practice field instead of carrying them in and out of the gym every day.
And it'll protect them from the weather, so they'll degrade less quickly over the years.
Currently sit outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the golf carts sit outside and then let's not replace them.
The stuff for the high school auditorium, the lighting and the curtains, at a minimum, can that be done before the musical stuff in the spring?
I think we have enough time for that.
Okay.
John, I don't know if you're able to talk to Pittsburgh Stage, at least for the curtains.
Yeah, we will talk to Pittsburgh Stage. Once we are done here, Dr. Rossi and I are going to sit down in the morning and go over what we're going to order right now. So we'll have a better extensive list of things we think and we know we can get done before the, through the school year.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that one, I think we have some time in it might, depending on when
We approved the truck would be ready by,
Truck, John,
would be ready by.
by the winter.
We're hoping it'll be done by winter. Normally you have to order them in late May, early June to get them before the season. But I think with the process of the companies getting caught up with the chassis, that we may be able to do that. I'll know more once I make the phone calls tomorrow.
So is that upgrading or replacing, repairing, or?
Replacing the one that.
It won't pass inspection.
Oh, such a nice thing. Okay.
Dr. Rossi, under capital projects, we had a roof damage over at the Gateway Middle School, and I know it's been a while, and the different parties are working together to move it forward. And I did see a note in there somewhere that says it's moving forward. Is that correct?
Yes, they were on site this week, so they're repairing that spring damage.
Speaking of roofs, how's Cleveland Stewart?
John, Cleveland Stewart.
How's Cleveland Stewart, John, given all the rain we've had?
Let's
You
vote
wanna
on this
wait?
and we'll
You
get,
wanna do
yeah,
that?
because it's not, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions in section 10?
Yeah, 10D, so that school bus video surveillance, I noticed the difference in the policy was removing an official letter notification to parents and would have sent by email. So I guess the question is for Chelsea, the solicitor, is if we're not mailing that letter out, are we still, like, is there any extra coverage that we need? Or like how else do we make sure we communicate that well so that, somebody comes back later and says, I didn't know we were getting videotaped on the bus.
So anytime you guys annually probably send out an electronic communication about all of your physicals that students need, like the handbooks.
There's actually a sign off in Skyward.
So they've just signed off to acknowledge it? Okay.
So there'll be a specific sign off that says.
So then you already then have that checks and balances.
Okay.
To forward with Skyward without.
Okay, now, can I assume some parents just never get into Skyward though? So just because we require them to see then stuff in Skyward, if a parent never actually finishes it, I'm sure there are some that don't,
There are some.
then we haven't notified them. Do you guys ever follow up to make sure that they sign? Okay,
We'll do an email blast.
okay.
I've also put it just on our website under transportation as well. You provide notice to the entire.
Well, and it's a policy, so it's public.
Okay,
But this way, because it is a little different than years past, to provide parents with notice that this is what's transpiring now on the school buses.
okay.
Also, isn't it required by law to have it on the door or something?
Yes,
that,
it's
like,
already displayed.
Like, you're not getting on the bus and being like, oh, I mean, you may miss the sign, but it's there.
It's in each bus. In fact, the company that we're working with guarantees that it's in a, otherwise they can't prosecute
Okay.
for following through with cars driving around as well.
Right, yeah. So it's video and audio that will be available. Okay.
Is this gonna be up and running day one? No. Any projection?
Do we have any more questions on section 10?
No.
Okay. May we have a roll call?
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre? Mr. Mock?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mrs. Boyce?
Aye.
Mrs. Beagle?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Okay, motion carries. Section 11, board member resolution. Like a motion to approve 30-day display, policy 0061, attendance at meetings via electronic communication.
So moved.
That's it. Anybody have any questions on policy 0061?
Yeah, you wanna explain the change, because this is a board member resolution, so you're proposing this change?
I was proposing it, I talked to the policy, thing, there were several things, because previous to COVID and our availability to do this, we didn't have any of this available. And this is a public office, it's not like a remote volunteer activity. And we're entrusted to sit here and have these conversations, and honestly, you bring up so many great points with budgeting and money. It's difficult to have those type of conversations on Zoom, and
Well, yeah.
the expectation should be that we are here in person. We expect our teachers, our administration, and our students to come here every day, and we can't come 2 times a month. And at least, just the majority of the percentage of times.
I mean, from a personal perspective, I have work travel. I have to travel for work. I can't always set my schedule, so I do.
Correct, and that's an exception, because you do not, and even vacations, you do not, sometimes that week is the only week available in Myrtle or wherever we all
So,
go.
but so why the change in the policy if we're still going to allow it? Because this is saying that we have to attend in person.
Correct, with 3-day notice or extraordinary circumstances, which would be things like your work that doesn't allow you to do that. And vacation that doesn't allow you to do that.
But you're actually scratching out those exceptions.
Yeah, there's exceptions. It says whether, so those exceptions are no longer in this policy.
You have family emergency, military obligations, or other circumstances approved by the board president, which should just say the board.
Honestly, it's,
And then you scratched out
okay.
illness, travel, schedule conflicts, weather conditions, and other emergency situations.
Yeah, but there's a whole new section that, what is that new section? Do you have that in paper?
So I can read it. Virtual participation shall be permitted only in extraordinary circumstances that prevent physical attendance, including illness, family emergency, military obligations, or other circumstances approved by the board president.
We can't change that to just board, not board president.
So does that mean like if I'm traveling for work, I now need to email the entire board and 8 other board members have to now get back to me and say I'm allowed to travel for work and call in?
No, other circumstances approved by, we will change that to board.
But how does
It's not included here.
At the bottom of the policy, it has to attend a board meeting through electronic communications. The school director shall comply with the following. Submit such a request to the board president and the board secretary at least 3 days prior to the meeting, except in case of sudden illness or sudden weather emergency, where notice must be given as soon as possible. The request for Zoom link will only be sent out at the direction of the board secretary. Ensure the remote location is quiet and free from background noise and interruption. Participate in the entire board meeting. The school director must disconnect before adjournment. They must announce their departure for the official record. Utilize two-way communication, camera enabled for the duration of the meeting to verify the school director's active participation and identity during all public deliberations and roll call votes. So it looks, as long as you give a 3-day notice.
Yeah, but the beginning of the policy says it has to be approved, and that section says you email the board president, the secretary. There is nothing in there about approval. So the beginning says I have to get it approved, and the later part doesn't ever talk about approval.
Good technical point, you're exactly right.
And it also limits us to 3 per calendar year.
Yes. And unless they're, again,
I don't know, I mean,
like, what are you, we all fought to get elected, and we all fought to be at these meetings, and we all fought to represent everybody in our community. So what, and I know that you work in travel. I also know that Susan goes on, we all go on vacations. I have missed a meeting on vacation. She's gonna be on Zoom in August. This isn't that. This is to rein it back in a little bit, because there is so much virtual and by phone that since COVID, boards have taken advantage of. So what is it that I get your point of the approval part, that, and then we can look at that and revisit that. But what are we opposed to?
Well, but I guess yours just said, well, vacation, technically it says including illness, family emergency, military obligations, or other circumstances. So as other circumstances include vacation and a litany of whatever somebody says it is. So then, but that is, then it leaves it so subjective to the board president deciding that this is acceptable and this is not. And, you know, like, it doesn't physically.
President, maybe board.
Yeah, so, but then how is the board gonna approve it? Somebody has to approve it, and we ask for it. Who actually then gives that approval? Like, is it like a vote? We have to now, like, vote on?
Board president, vice president, I would email.
Yeah.
So, do you have a yes, you're right. Do you have a recommendation to tighten this policy up?
I mean, I do think somebody needs to approve it, and you know, I don't think else like, but.
Sorry, to cut you off.
Yeah.
The 2 people we voted for that say are our leaders, let them make the decision on.
So change this to president and vice president?
They both have to agree, but then there has to be an obligation on the way back to make sure that you can confirm that, you know what I mean? Right, if I have
Are we
to.
talking about like individually each request, or are we talking about the wording in the front, or other circumstances approved by the board president? Because those are 2 different things. I think the board should vote and approve those other circumstances, because it's already unclear whether traveling for work counts against the 3 days you're relative that we are allocating here, or if it doesn't.
Okay.
And each time I travel, do I have to seek permit? You know what I mean? Like, it's, she works, I literally work for a travel company, so that's literally all I do for work is travel.
Chelsea. Yes. Can we get some input from you? I'm going to tell you when this came up to us to look at policy, and we looked at the law. Actually, this is very less strict than the state. The state was very specific. They gave less absences, and it was, if you read the actual law, it was very different. So we were in the position of having to really do a deep dive into this. Chelsea, and we also looked at it from 2 perspectives, because there's 2 parts to this. There is, we can change the wording, because that was something that I had not seen, to be honest with you, before, because we did a generic conversation about what we were looking at legally and where we are at today. But we also looked at 2 factions. There is executive session versus regular meetings. And do you want to give us a little input? Because what we looked at is, handling executive sessions is not necessarily the way we want to handle the regular meetings, because if you're physically not there, this is very sensitive information in executive session, correct?
Correct.
And you had sort of semi-made up flying recommendation. So do you want to look at executive session first and then talk about the actual meeting?
So for executive session matters, I've always said to any board, council, committee, anybody, any group, entity, political subdivision that's going into an executive session, my recommendation from a legal standpoint is always to have physical bodies in the room. If you're not physically there, you don't get to call in because I don't know whether or not somebody else is in the room with you. And there are matters that are often discussed that are personnel matters that can affect somebody's privacy rights. So my legal recommendation always for executive session, if you're not there, you don't get to, you can learn from it later from Dr. Rossi or whoever, somebody else, the board president, but it is not, in my mind, a good way that you end up cutting off the head of the dragon that way. You're able to say, well, we know who was in the room, and if this information was disseminated, you know how it was somebody in that room and not somewhere else. And we've had other litigation in the past where executive sessions comments have made it into litigation, and we've always said, well, you know, the cleanest way is always physically be present. I also recommend an executive session, this is a little beyond, but if something's disseminated, to return it to the person who disseminated it so that it cannot be put out to the public. If you're in for sunshine law for a open meeting, the sunshine law requires that you have to have the majority, or in this case, 5 members of your board here to be able to go forward and have a meeting. The other 4 can call in under the sunshine law. Now, you as a board get to decide how you want to regulate those call-ins. And I think that's what this is talking about. From executive session, you guys can have an administrative regulation or policy, or you could put it in this policy. You have to be physically present. But again, you guys can decide executive session separately. For being out here on the board, out here making decisions, you need at least under 5 people to be physically present under the sunshine law. How you want to regulate that moving forward is up to you guys to decide.
Does Zoom constitute present, or we
No,
bodies
I need a
in the
physical
chair?
body breathing in this room. Zoom does not count.
I,
The only time Zoom counted was during COVID, where they gave an exception to the sunshine law because we were not allowed to be in a room. We had to be more than 6 feet apart and all that stuff. That's gone away. Now,
Well,
it's
we
not that something can come about.
Yeah,
and there's an extenuating-
Yeah, we had that snow day
Yes, so
situation,
then
right? So that
there
was,
Yes,
that
so
would
there
be
are
okay.
entrance times where when the governor, I think, declared a state of emergency then. So then, boom, now we're able to go into a meeting via Zoom, everybody. But prior to COVID, that didn't even exist. So
I did ask the question when we were going through this, because again, if you read the law, we're being sort of liberal with the approach we're taking based on what the state is saying, because I didn't understand. It says, or prevented by necessary absence from the district. Like legally, what does that mean?
say that again,
It
present.
says, this is in the law, prevented by necessary absence from the district. What does that mean?
I think you have to read the whole sentence.
If you get trespassed, and it gets you not allowed on property.
Well, no. It's talking about detained by sickness, unless detained by sickness or prevented by necessary absence from the district.
I'd have to read it. If I could read.
I'll tell you what, I will give this to you and you can tell me what that means. Because that was also something that.
If you pass it down, I'll read it.
It's where the asterisk is, you're gonna have to read that. later.
Recommended. Chelsea, based on the comments, how would you recommend changing based on concerns of?
So I think there's 2 things that are, and I think Rick brought it up. The first is, one, who are you gonna make the decision on whether or not it was
An infraction occurred.
correct? And then separately, if it's the other circumstance, is that a board decision that qualifies as the other circumstance, or is it the president?
Well, that answers this because it says allegations or other circumstances approved by the board. So this is where we would put board president and vice president.
Co. And then the question, but Rick raised the issue of
And it
other
wasn't, but
circumstances.
it wasn't a separate sentence.
Yeah, but I still think they're 2 different issues.
They are.
We're talking about we were trying to set a guideline or a standard of
So
what
vacation work,
qualifies
yes.
as something that you can request a Zoom participation.
So did you want
Each of
to,
those Zoom participations then need an approval from the president.
okay, so you want a list of,
I would like the board to come together and figure out what counts against those 3 days and what doesn't. So in other words,
So
if
you're asking
if
for-
I go on vacation for the next meeting and I request from you and you grant that, does that count as one of my days?
One of the three.
You're limited as
Oh,
to three.
yes.
That, I think that's in there. That's what it's talking about. It talks about sickness, whatever
Yes.
that other part of that means. No, it's,
I see,
I
I
don't know
said
what,
that.
I don't understand that wording. That's why I wanted to read it.
yeah, so basically, yes, you can do 3 virtual Zoom meetings. And then the rest need to be in person unless there are those extenuating circumstances, which would be another work trip. Or is that what you want to list?
So but let me just add, something else, are we talking about the discussion meeting, what's the first meeting called?
Study
No, we only hold 22 meetings. If you miss 3 or 4 of them, you're only here 80% of the time.
That's an inaccurate way of describing it.
Do you see what I mean?
You're still present, you're still counted as present, you're still in action, you're still voting, you are still in the roll call as present. So I don't think that's a fair description. And I don't see, that gets to the root of my issue with this, is I don't understand the problem. We went through COVID where everybody was Zooming and we were dealing with some heavy stuff, some very intricate, difficult conversations. We were able to pull that off better than most districts around us. So I don't see the problem with being able to Zoom. Donna does it very effectively. Susan does it very effectively when she's on vacation wherever she's going.
On vacation, I had knee replacement.
Well, there's that.
That's it.
But, you know, I don't understand that. I think
Because at that time, Zoom was a necessity. And now we are
But that-
treating it like we were elected to be on video.
Can I say something? When I ran for this position, one of the town hall meetings, I had the last question and said, you are a multiple business owner, you don't have time for this. How do you want to make time for this? So I had to change my whole world in order to make sure I'm here every time there's a vote. So I get the point where, hey, if you sign up for it, you sign up for it. Make sure you're here. If you have an excuse, tell the 2 people in charge and say, hey, this is the point where I can't make it. That's your stance. But other than that, you signed up for it. Be here.
I appreciate that, and we're not all fortunate enough, or not fortunate, but we're not all in a position where we own our own business. I am subject to the people that make my schedule.
Totally understand. But like I said, if you agree to what was being voted for the whole community.
And at that time, there was no 3-meeting limit to participating by Zoom. When I ran, I assumed that there would be no limit, that was not a problem, because I still don't see it as a problem. And to your point, yes, it was necessary during COVID, but that's not the point I was making. The point I was making goes to the root of this, which is you can't effectively be a participant in a meeting through Zoom.
But
And it's essentially no different than.
But if 9 of us had that same thing, there wouldn't be 5 of us in the room. And
That's right.
as elected officials, we have conversations with constituents after the meetings. You lose all that. You lose them before the meeting. Like, the whole point of public service is literally being here for the public. We were elected from the public to represent the public and be here for the public. And we don't get that on Zoom.
Dr. Rossi, I kiddingly said this before, but if we're gonna vote on you, that changes everything. But we would physically have to be here to vote on this, correct? I mean, we used to, Janet would take roll call and do it, but if we're gonna physically use this now as a method by which we vote, eventually.
Technically, I think if the person has their device. That's right. With
So you
them,
said though,
I
they're
think-
gonna be able to use their laptops. Yeah, because for me, I won't have this unless I'm physically here. So that's still gonna
It should
be
be,
okay.
we're still running the system, but I think as long as they have internet access, and they're able to sign into their account, yes.
Okay, so we really.
Troubleshooting would be a little more difficult because obviously it might go
Right.
it's not there.
Right, right. But we also too, Chelsea, we have to look at this not only from the regular meetings, but we still have to, because when we looked at this, when we sat down with Dr. Rosen, we looked at it twofold. Executive session, regular meeting.
Yeah, so. Correct. So I was just looking up this language and I literally just Googled it. And I think this is more of a term of art, necessary absent from the district. Because remember, this school code was adopted in 1949.
It's been
So it's
amended.
not a common usage. And the way they describe necessary absence from the district is leaving the jurisdictional boundaries of the school district or municipality for unavoidable reasons such as mandatory work travel, military deployment, and or family relocation. So that's what they're referring in this section. But so you know, this section isn't applicable. The section you're reading from is dealing with committees for like Forbes Road. This section references when you can remove a school board member for failing to sit on that committee. They are not elected to those committees because they're elected officials for the school boards, but they have not been elected by like Forbes Road. There's not a conglomerate of people voting those as an elected official into that seat. They are just representing somebody, and I believe you're the person for Gateway. If she failed to attend those meetings, there's an avenue to remove her from Forbes committee, not Gateway School Board, but from Forbes committee because she's not an elected official there. But that term of art that you were referencing is what I just read.
Is that what it means? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand what that meant. Because we were trying to figure out legally, as elected officials, what are the parameters that we're supposed to
Yeah,
follow?
so, and I will say this too, like if someone fails to attend a meeting consistently, whether they want to go to work, whether they want to sit in their house and twiddle their thumbs, it doesn't matter. To remove that person from the school board as an elected official, you need 2/3 of the state senate to do it. So you're not going to get, there are people that have been on school boards that never show up for years, and it happens. I have it in municipalities. I had a woman that I've never met, and I've been on for 3 years. She came to the last meeting. So again,
Oh, that's
that happens across the across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the state Senate's not going to take the time. I know they pass their budgets, but they don't care about Leslie McBride and whether or not she's Gateway's president.
No, we're just trying to piece this together from a legal perspective as to what are the guidelines that we're supposed to follow.
Yeah, but
I don't want people off the board, I want them to be at the board.
I get it.
No, nobody said that.
Oh,
No, we're just trying to figure out what
meeting. But the section you're referring to is vacancies and removing people from the boards, and that is not what it's talking about here. We're not even in the right realm.
But it does play into that, because if Laura uses up for 3 days and then has 2 other work trips that conflict with the schedule, and the president denies those, now that's 2 consecutive meetings they miss. So it would trigger that possibility.
It'll trigger your policy, but then somebody needs to go out and get 2/3 of the state
I
senate to
understand
vote her
that
off.
that's a long shot,
Yeah.
but that is,
It's a shot.
That's why we're gonna change this to.
can I make a suggestion? I think this whole thing, I like parts of it. I think we need to guard against abuse of just, I don't feel like going in, so I'm gonna do this at home in my underwear. I think that's a problem. I have some issues with some of the wording. I think we should probably kick this to the policy committee meeting, workshopping, and then bring it back. But this point, that would be a table. But I'm not gonna say that yet until Jim gets this.
I just want to, because I pulled up our current policy, that it says to attend a board meeting through electronic communications, the school director shall comply with the following. Submit such a request to the board president at least 3 days prior to the meeting. Ensure that the remote location is quiet and free from background noise and interruption. participate in the entire board meeting. So currently, as the board president, are you getting is this the part of the problem where our current policy is we're not getting notice that people aren't going to be here, or?
Correct. I have not received notice of people not being here of the 3 days, but that's just, you know.
I mean, this is like the current policy that we have on the books now that we all should be living by, not one that's
Exactly. You're saying that we aren't even doing what's there, but yes. Right. We can go back at the policy, John. We can go back and revisit this. You, Mr. Policy Man. Revisit this and create two policies, which Chelsea, again, for input on executive session, which has been a bit of an issue. And have two separate, policies related to one meeting, executive session, and the other regular meetings. And then we can take, however you want to amend. Is that all right? You want us to revisit it and create two?
Not tabling it.
Policies, or policy A and part B, or?
That's fine. So
A motion to table.
Second.
all in favor for a motion to table to rewrite? Any opposed?
One general question too, this is about, outside of executive, so we have study sessions, and I think I started saying this on those. There's study sessions and voting meetings. Occasionally we have a voting action and a study session, but in general, a study session is an informational section. So I don't think this policy makes a distinction between those two. So is this really supposed to be talking about the voting meeting as the number, and the study session is different because it's
Well, there's only 12 voting meetings, so there's 22, so no, it would encompass both.
I think we have to be clear in here that you're including the study session and voting meetings as the same.
Policy committee
Yeah,
can
it should be
address that.
explicit, yeah.
Yeah, any open meeting.
A whole nother policy. I just think that those three sections
Right.
all just need to be added and updated in the existing, where you spell out the executive session, you spell
Just
out.
two sections in the same policy.
Right.
We'll throw it back to the policy committee. We'll bring it.
And then I think all of us as board members should take a look at it and give our input to the policy
I think all of us
committee.
as board members should probably be trying to be at that meeting or at that committee to make sure we pick this all up. So we don't come back later and look like buffoons.
Talking about how it's supposed to be.
Well, we tabled this 4 minutes ago, we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Point of procedure.
Okay, any comments from residents on non-agenda items? No?
Could you go up to the microphone so that folks at home could hear you, please?
Yeah, because we can't,
We would prefer to the folks at home, otherwise they can't hear you.
just say
Yeah.
your name and location.
Most of you. Can you hear me?
That won't,
Most of
that
you-
doesn't,
in this building. You know me, I've been around with my children for years. He knows, superintendent. And I've been around helping or doing what I could for many a year. And I'd just like to say greetings from the community. And I'm happy to say that we have graduated our last grandchild. And she will miss you all because she loved going to Gateway. And I would like to have it noted also that I am deeply concerned about the topic that we cannot talk about. But thank you for having me, and I hope I can continue working and coming to the board member meetings as you let me. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Administrative reports. None.
That's because it's summertime.
We're trying to keep their job.
I don't think we had any committee meetings over the last month, have we? Anybody have any reports?
I don't know, I feel like.
Okay. I would like to hold a quick executive session after this meeting to discuss personnel.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?